Yo. Can you guys hear me? What's up, Dawson? How you doing, man? Mark Bound, what's going on? Greetings from Hawaii, Whitefish. Hell yeah, dude. What's up, Chin? Oscar, CJ, Jared, Dubs, Mr. M1. What's going on? Second stream in a little while. So, yeah. We got the MAX2. MAX2 came out, or is coming out next week. We got it right here. MAX2. Regular Max, MAX2. 2 streams in a week. What's up, Levi? What's up, Garrett? Never, dude. I only have one way to ski, one way to do things, but CJ, I appreciate that, dude. Thank you, man. Welcome back to the Stoke Squad. What's up, Kevin? Lewis Cantina here. Came out with a little video on Monday, or was it yesterday? It was yesterday, just kind of talking about just some ski stuff. So it's something I want to kind of add in there that's going to be a little bit more sustainable for myself and still bring you guys some sort of content. So looking for topics and stuff like that to talk about. I feel like an idiot. I just bought the first Max. I mean, I would still be using the Max. You know, I used it all summer, really, for the most part, for a lot of my ski stuff. I used it all last winter. It's still a solid camera. It's just, at this part, it's what, like 10 years old now, which is kind of nuts. So, I will say the Max 2 has a lot more capable. It's a lot stronger. But I mean, yeah, I used the Max for a long time, and so yeah, first Max is still great. How long does the battery last? You know, that's a good question, Kelvin. I mean, I think shooting 8K is overkill. Where'd I go? I don't know why my camera shuts off. I got to figure that out. I think shooting 8K, to be honest, is overkill. It is a new battery, so the Max 2 does have a different battery. You're going to get more battery life than the first Max, but I honestly, the thing I loved about my Max was the battery life. Like, I would shoot all day and maybe go through 1.5 batteries. It seemed to always do really well in the cold, so it looks the same, but the battery is different than the first one, so... I think the first time I used the Max 2 was, there's some videos on or I think a video of when Abe Kislevitz came to Deer Valley and we had like a powder day. That was the first time I saw the Max, and that was probably like 2 years ago. And then every time I've been with Abe Kislevitz since then, he's always had a Max 2 and stuff. So when I was with him this summer at Mammoth, a lot of that footage in that video was from a prototype Max 2. The heli hiking video this summer, a lot of footage from there was also from the Max 2. Heli skiing like 2 seasons ago now with Burke Irving and stuff, there was a lot of Max 2 in there as well. So it's cool to finally see it like almost available to the public. And yeah, I just think it's a big step up. I don't think it's as user friendly as something like the Insta360. But the quality and what you can extract out of the MAX2 is a lot better. A lot better. We have echo going on. Levi, welcome back, brother. Will GoPro make a narwhal mount? I don't know for sure, but I'm trying to listen to my own echo. Narwhal mount? I don't know for sure, but I think they will. I think they'll come out with some cool ski stuff. But I'm not really, yeah. I guess to be very clear, I had a contract with GoPro, like something in writing. They were paying me 4 times a year, once a quarter. And that was from May 2024 to May 2025. That ended. They didn't renew it. They cited just budget things, and they can't really support the financial side of it, but they'll still give me product and stuff like that. So I'm technically not really sponsored by GoPro like I was last season. But all that being said, I don't really know much more than you guys, to be honest. I'll get previews like if I'm ever with Abe, but for the most part, yeah. Am I ever considering the Air V112? Not really. I feel like that's just kind of like I don't know where that underfoot would fit in to my quiver. I know Joe really likes the 112. He uses that Solomon Blank, which is a 112, and he really likes that underfoot. Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be cool to try, but I don't know. I think the 116 is kind of where I like to gravitate. So I don't know. Weekly videos this winter. I think you can count on, pretty regular videos. I don't think I'll be doing, daily videos like I've done before. I mean, obviously early in the season, there might be a more volume of videos, but I think between live streams and things like that, I think you can expect a consistent stream of videos up until February. I'm not sure, Oscar. I think at the most it would just be like the 7 days that I get. But I don't have an Icon Pass yet. I'm trying to wait and see if Deer Valley wants to do something again and then help me out with that. But if anything, it would be just the 7 days at Alta Bird. Probably just mostly Deer Valley, Park City, and then the Alta Bird stuff and Snow Basin. Snow Basin's really great. One of the great quality of life things with the MAX2, I don't know if it's going to be easy to see, but let's see here. So if you notice the button on the side there, that's the power button. They raised it up, where on the original Max, it's flush. And so when you had gloves on, one of the biggest problems was, trying to operate the camera really this, and the record button's a little bit more raised, but the side button, when you had gloves on, you can never feel where it was. And when I have used this with gloves on, one of the first things I noticed was how much easier it is to operate just with raising the button out. So little thing, but it really made a big difference just in terms of being able to use it with your gloves on the mountain. Revolt 114s. This summer. That's a sick combo, Levi. I wonder if I can put like a... I heard good things about the Volco Revolt, the 114, Backland 102. I'm a little bit TBD right now on the early season in Colorado. I'm leaning towards yes, but there could be a chance where I might not be able to make it out. But yeah, I would say there's probably a 65% chance yes and 35% chance I don't make it. I'm pretty excited about the 106 Ti's, Oscar. I'm a little bit, I don't know, a little bit torn with having metal in the ski. I don't really know why I picked them up. I was going to get the Declivity 108s, but I just kind of talked myself out of it. So I was going to get a new pair of 106s, but I figured maybe try the TIs. Maybe that would be... Because I really didn't love the 106s that I had. I just never really reached for them, but... so yeah, we'll see how the 106 Ti's work. If I don't like them, then I don't know. I don't know. So I just know myself, and I just feel like I'm just going to use my White Walkers mostly. So don't do it. Where are you going to be skiing mostly, Levi? Like Solitude again, or do you have the 102s, Chen? The Declivity 102s. They changed the 106s? Hell yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I just always liked the 116. Maybe I got to try a different 106 of some sort, or different, yeah. Deathwish 112's nice. Well, there's another 112er. I feel like that underfoot's getting more and more popular. The 102s. Joe has the 102s. He really likes the Declivity 102. I feel like most people who use the Declivity end up really liking them. But yeah, the 108s looked really sweet. Like the description was like, it's a really aggressive ski, hard charging big mountain. I was like, it kind of sounds pretty sweet. And I feel like a 108, a 116, and a 121 would have been a good quiver, but I don't know. I might still, I don't know. I could always get them, and the good part is they are very close in underfoot, so I really could swap a binding over if I wanted to, if I didn't like the 106. But yeah. Working as a ski instructor, nice. Freeloader snowboard pass since I'm still 18. So you're gonna be in ski boots basically every day then. And you got the freeloader snowboard pass. Your last year, so enjoy it. So fun in the moguls and trees. Do you like your JJs, Chin? Your 116s or Solly Bird? Bent 110s early season and Bent 120s. Nice. I've low-key wanted to try the Bent 120s. They look like a really fun pow ski. I don't really have much affinity towards like the Bent 100s, Bent 110s, but the Bent 120s, like, those look really fun to use. 1 cop the 121s. I want to cop the White Walker 121s. Also, Armada is making a new White Walker next year. .116s in front of charge, go fast and get the platform. The 116s feel like a sledgehammer. Yeah. That's what I always equated that when I used the JJs for a while, was that ski was like a bulldozer. Like it just goes through anything. It's obvious because you still have the non-UL version, so you got the poplar ash core. So it's a more relatively heavy wood, and with all that underfoot, you just like smash through everything. It's a good way to put it. You really gotta have the right conditions, you know. That's why I say like a 116 is not meant as like an all mountain everyday ski for most people. Can you use when you come to Whitefish? I'm short. I'm on a 184. I think that would be a little short for me, to be honest, Mark. What's up, Dakota? What the helly? Lion Bacon's 122. Yeah, that 120 underfoot, it's a fun one. Shape wise, they are really similar to the Flex is a bit softer. Yeah, honestly, the Ben Chetlers and a lot of like the Armadas are almost identical. They have the edgeless tip and tails. They're really made out of the same material. They have the same sort of beveled tip and tail. So the Ben Chetlers and Armadas are very similar. It's like summer just makes you forget and puts me in the wall of work on our vacations. That's funny, Chin, because last March, I remember like at Sonoma, you were like, "Yeah, I'm ready for winter to be over." It's a cycle. It's a cycle. I know you're really good at skiing, but have you ever thought about making a YouTube video where you try snowboarding? I don't know. I mean, people have asked that before, but not really. I feel like that's an easy way just to get injured. What's up, Cold Side? You're going to ski mostly CBS this year with sprinkle with midweek? Probably, yeah. It'll probably mostly be weekends, and then if there's, I don't know, like a big storm or there's a trip or something that I'm going on, it'll be maybe some midweek in there, but I think the majority is going to be on weekends. We're going to be coming out with a White Walker 108. I feel like you just cannibalize your own ski lineup at some point. If you got a 106, a 108, a 112, a 116 White Walker, a 116 JJUL, I mean, a 108 declivity, a 115 declivity. I think the narrative for resort skiing is going more narrow. I think, people aren't for the most part, people aren't going and buying a 116, you know, unless you're really in the right areas and you know what you want and you can afford to have multiple skis. You know, if you have a 116, you likely need something else. And if you can only get one ski and, you know, a pair of new skis is $800, you're probably not just going to go pick up a 116. But White Walker 108, definitely do way worse than beat up snow and credit commit just because of the softer flex. That makes sense. I wonder what makes the ski softer. Because I think the Ben Tretlers are made out of poplar ash and the White Walkers are made out of Caruba, which is actually a softer, lighter wood. So I wonder why the Ben Tretler is softer. Yeah, that'd be interesting. What's up, Coconut? Competition just improved. Oh, definitely. Yeah, I mean, that's the great part about competition, you know, and things like that. So, yeah, I mean, all the 360 cameras are great. And it's like with anything, it comes down to how you use the camera more than anything. So, but yeah, so it's always like, man, what can they come out with now that makes the camera even better than where they're at right now? So it's a vicious cycle. Look, goddamn, I'm ready to get back into it. My surfboards, yeah. What's up, Jack? Troy Sam 20, good to see you as well. What's going on? Dude, the Clivity has more shape to it versus 116, so the turn-in feels great. Oh yeah, I bet. I mean, the shitty part with the you know the 116s is the turn radius is awful. You know, so it's just getting them to work and do what you want is yeah, can be a lot more difficult. Where you got 102 and then the whole shape of the declivity. Yeah, I mean that is the bummer with the 116s and skis with a lot of rocker on them in general, right? The White Walkers and stuff like that is just like you just don't have the agility that you have on a ski with less rocker, more camber. Maybe just having less wood and being less thick. More wood, more thick. What's up, Moses? Another year, another season. Been looking into the Stoke Squad goggles prices really enticed me. I'm wondering how do they line up against some of the bigger players. I mean, personally, I think they hold their own against, you know, you look at a Smith goggle or an Oakley, you know, you can be looking upwards to $300-400, and you know, I've used the Zipline goggles for almost a decade now, and I've really, you know, short of the occasional fogging up when you're getting in and out of things and all that, like I don't really understand what makes an Oakley goggle or a Smith goggle so expensive. Is it the lens? You know, is it the polarization? But yeah, I mean, I think for the money, the Zipline goggle is really solid. So if you're looking for something that's less expensive, you know, I think the Stoke Squad, the Zipline goggle does really well. The name. Yeah, that could be true, Dakota. Just the fact that it's an Oakley and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I mean, you know, Zipline's a very small company. They support a lot of athletes on the World Cup circuit and stuff like that. But nothing makes them expensive besides the logo. I mean, to be honest, if you have like the money and like, I would just get, you know, get the top of the line Oakley or Smith goggle, you know. But yeah, I mean, the Stoke Squad goggles I think are great. They, you know, we offer a bunch of different lenses. They're super easy to swap in and out. So Coconut. I know you're always looking to improve your skiing, which is already high level, but there's anything you were looking to focus on this season? You know, man, I haven't really given that much thought just yet. I didn't really delve into kind of my own personal skiing journey. I think there was a moment where I just kind of, yeah, I just was out there to have fun, and obviously the channel and filming took so much precedent on it. But yeah, just ski harder, ski faster. I mean, I'm not looking to like, you know, huck cliffs or like throw anything crazy. That's just not really what I'm about, you know, but yeah. The prism technology. Yeah, the HD lenses are great that Zipline came out with. There's the Skyburst lens, which I don't know if Zipline even has. In stock, but the Skyburst lens was my go-to for storm skiing. I mean, you want to, you know, being in whiteouts and stuff like that, the Skyburst has just been great, and he kind of revamped that. And what's up, Gunther? Sick powdered at the bird. Same, man. Same. I got to get a better vehicle to get up there. The van just is not very good to get up to Snowbird when you want to go on those really really crazy storm days. So that was a big thing that kind of kept me away from the bird. But yeah, it's hard to beat those days when you just get like literally 20 inches and, you know, you're just up there just ripping pow. Season hype usually will come out right when the mountains start opening up. I mean, that takes me a little bit longer just because I really got to comb through all the stuff from last year and then, you know, make it exciting and energetic and everything. So that the season hype trailer will come out probably third week of October. So I want to do a little bit more like, you know, how to maximize your ski day at Park City, you know, because I really know Park City very well in Deer Valley. So, you know, if you come here for a 3-day trip, what is the traffic like getting here? Where should you park? How is the most efficient way to work around the mountain? Kind of a video like that for Park City and Deer Valley. Yeah, I want to talk about some of my favorite ski states that I've been to. And then since last year, because I went to, since last year I had kind of a new, new top resort ranking, especially with going to Lake Louise. So maybe just like a little top 5 or something. So my vision really picked up switching from basic to Annans, but I think any jump from... Yeah, I think that you raise a good point, David. I think there's kind of a diminishing return element to really expensive goggles. Honestly, similar to something like bindings. I think once you, like the Look Pivot's a great binding. It's arguably the best binding out there, but would a regular like resort skier who skis 7 days a year really notice a difference between a Marker Griffin and a Look Pivot? I think, if anything, it would be extremely negligible. And I think there's the same, once you get to a certain level of goggle and technology, like, you know, I don't know if you're really getting much more for the amount that you're paying over the top, if that makes sense. So it's crazy. It's almost October. I know. I feel like the year went by really quickly. I really do. Officially in fall as of 2 days ago. It's weird. It felt like fall like 2 days ago, especially up here in Park City. And then today was like 75. I had a great bike ride, was in full short sleeves and all that sort of stuff. But the leaves are pretty much almost peak up here. So what's up, Wombat Billy? My Yoda handles anything you throw at it. You should go to Mammoth. I know. I definitely need to come back to Mammoth. That's my favorite California mountain. Tell Florida we're in fall. Is it hot up there, Dakota? Down there still? What's up, Alvaro? Are we going to hit this 100K this year? I mean, personally, I don't think we'll hit 100,000. Just looking at kind of the growth trajectory, you know, unless there's a video or something that does really well. I mean, I just based on history, yeah, maybe we'll get to like 85,000. I think if we got to 90, that would be extremely strong. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't even know if we'll get to that. So I think 100 is going to be a big stretch, to be completely honest with you. Yeah, Gunther, I do need to. You know, I really have never been to Heavenly. I went there once. It was a night. It was fun, but everything was shut down. Um, I really am. I'm due for a Colorado trip for sure, and I'm due for a California revisitation, Kirkwood, Tahoe, stuff like that. 96 with heat index of 106. What's up, Colin? Oregon skiing's underrated. I'd agree with that, Billy. Mount Hood Meadows is sick. You know, I think when you guys get good, you know, good snow, those mountains are really fun. I said it from the beginning was the terrain. The terrain's never the problem. It's just kind of the snow consistency that can kind of be a little bit wonky. But you guys got some cool mountains. Thoughts on the DV expansion? From Randall Flag, do you think there'll be areas that give a backcountry feel like the Back Bowls and Blue Sky Basin? I think the Deer Valley expansion is great. I think when you see the work they're doing there, it's really nothing short of incredible. And like I said before, the fact that you're going to have a brand new ski resort, you know, we haven't had that. I think the newest ski resort is honestly something like Revelstoke, you know, or something like that. So that just have brand new infrastructure is like going to be really, really neat. I'm personally a little bit skeptical on the level of terrain that the new terrain is going to have. Like, I think you might get some of that sort of Back Bowl, Blue Sky Basin of Vail, but I don't think you're going to get like very gnarly extreme stuff. I think snow accumulation is going to be a problem back there because of the way the slope faces. But I mean, I could be totally wrong. You know, at the end of the day, they're literally doubling their size and, you know, making it so people who are on the other side of Park City, Heber, Provo, all that, like, it's going to help reduce traffic and all that. So I'm definitely for the DV expansion. I'm just not super familiar with exactly the type of terrain we're going to have. Anything good going on up there? If you're going this weekend, Jordan, I would definitely drive up like Guardsman Pass, like up Empire, like, you know, if you want to look at the leaves are going to be peaked this weekend and then they're going to die pretty soon. So I think maybe Oktoberfest is going on, like at Snowbird. You could like go over the top and head up to Little Cottonwood. But yeah, it's kind of a quiet time of year for Park City before the snow season starts. When's the East Coast trip? No East Coast plans as of this year, but, you know, maybe Killington will invite us out and we'll go. David Wenberg, 100K subscribers would be great, but it's kind of like a good mountain where you don't want other people to know about it. Oh, man. You know, up to Mount Bachelor. Yeah, that's probably like the best time to go, right? Is like in the spring. April, May, March. I only went to Bachelor once and it was kind of rough, but we were there. Yeah, I'm due for a California trip. I'm due for everything, to be honest. I'm due for Pacific Northwest again, you know, Crystal, Oregon, you know, Whistler. I'm due for everything other than Utah, but it's so damn hard to leave Utah. The new Revelator lift just about the same elevation as Sultan. Okay. Yeah, makes sense, Josh. And when you, like, if you've driven down, let's say you're going from Park City to Heber, like the amount that they're building down the mountain there, you can tell it's going to be a lot lower elevation. It gets morning sun, which just means, it's tough to retain snow. It's the last of the sort of Wasatch Peaks to get hit by a storm. A lot of the storms come in, they hit the Cottonwoods, then they hit Park City, then Deer Valley. And then where East Village is, it's even kind of farther from the Empire area of Deer Valley. So, you're going to get a little bit more mixed conditions. It's going to be wetter snow, maybe some rain. So I think what that area is going to be great for is the Deer Valley groomers. They're always really good at that. And your views on that side are awesome. You're going to be looking right over the Jordanelle. You might be able to see some in Timpanogos maybe, depending on where you are. I don't know exactly where the Revelator lift's going to be. And then obviously the amenities. A lot of people do ski for the lodging, the restaurants, all that. And that's going to be nothing short of excellent. So, I mean, is it something that, a powder hound cliff dropper from Little Cottonwood is going to want to go ski? Probably not, but that's not really what Deer Valley, I think, is positioning it for. And there's a whole other market of skiers other than, the people who get up at 6 a.m. to go wait in, the tram line to go ski POW. So lift access biking ends this weekend. Well, there's a thing. I guess it's the last weekend to get your lift access biking in. What's up, Jeff? Jeff E., good to see you. Steamboat Springs in January. Great mountain, great town. I'm stoked for you. We will be going to Indy next month, Jeff, if you did want to come. It's no sweat. It's just we have the tickets, and they're just going to go to waste. So if you want to come, just shoot me an email. I got 4 tickets, but if not, it's no big deal. John O'Neill, what's going on? If you go to East J Peak, yeah, man. I mean, they got solid snow last year, so I think if I were to go to the East Coast, and it would make sense to hit multiple mountains, make it more of like a tour, right? So, but yeah, I heard good things about J Peak, and obviously the mountains in Vermont are good too. I've always said, It's not a terrain issue with the East Coast. The East Coast has some wild tree skiing, and they have all that sort of stuff. The problem with the East Coast is the snow consistency, and I have no problem saying that because when I grew up in upstate New York, and it's just fact. They could get snow, but then the next weekend or the next day it's 40 degrees and it's raining. So it's not. I don't really like the East and West discussion because they're just different, but that's why I just don't go to the East Coast. You just don't get that in Utah. You just, you really don't. What's up, John O'Neill? I would love to, man. That's another place I got to get back to. Big Sky, Jackson, Targhee, maybe another Whitefish trip. I've yet to ever catch Jackson on good snow, and it's always cold as shit. And then it's just the conditions are subpar. But what's up, Conry? Randall Flag moved to the SLC from the East Coast. Nice. The East is not worth it. Yeah. I mean, look, I think it'd be great for the channel. I really do. I think, there's obviously a lot of people who live on the East Coast, and for whatever reason, they watch the channel because they want to see what the West is like. And, it's, yeah. I just don't even know what I would do out there. But yeah, for sure, Jeff. I would love to get you in on that. We're going to be doing the GT4 and stuff, so that'll be fun to see. Stoke Squad meetup for the opening days. Got to experience the ice at some point. I know. Do you though? I'm perfectly good with just experiencing nice, deep, dry blower powder of Utah. I think I could die easy knowing I never truly experienced the East Coast ice, but I guess I don't know what I'm missing. Yeah, every ski resort in the U.S. in one season. It's that would be a fun challenge. You know, think of how many little mom and pop resorts there are, and you know, resorts that are just like a freaking T-bar and a pommel lift, and that would be a pretty cool project. What's up, John? Callie John, big fan. Lucas, take me back. Hardcore for 25 years. Good to see your stuff. East Coast here, we definitely going to be most excited about coming out. Yeah, I mean, we've had our, we have a Discord chat, which is like a group, kind of like a big group thread, and we've had some discussions in there, East versus West, and people are very passionate about the, East versus West, and I get it. Like I said, each East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, they all have their elements. And for me, I like big mountain, I like powder skiing, so that's why I like skiing in the West. The Midwest has some of the best terrain parks and rope tows and stuff like that. So if you're someone who just loves to hit rails and jumps, like the Midwest could be your place, So it's all great. You're out there on skis, you're in the mountains. But yeah, for me, for what I like to ski, I'm just more of a Utah person, so. I grew up ski racing on the East. I feel like a lot of people do. Like if you grew up on the East Coast, you were a racer at some point, and then I don't know, you either dislike racing but difference between Colorado snow and Utah snow. It's a good question, Dawson. I would say in terms of the quality, not really. I mean, Colorado also gets very dry, blower, champagne pow. I would say more often than not, I think if you look at just general average snowfalls, Utah just gets more snow. And I think a lot of times the storms that move in from the Pacific, right, they come in through California, they're wet, they dry out, they hit Utah. They just run out of steam by the time they get to Colorado. So I think while the snow quality is very similar, I just think on average they get less snow. That doesn't mean that they don't get hammered with some big storms, but it's more often the case that Utah's getting hit and then Colorado. It's a little bit more rare that a storm will kind of come up from Wyoming and Montana and then just dump into Colorado. So I would say the difference is that Utah just gets more snow, but Colorado also has great snow. Gear video will come out soon. I would say, in the next 3 weeks. As I said about the last gear video, a lot of it's the same. But yeah, I'll come up with another one. What's up, Roberto? Steamboat snow is probably known as the best in Colorado. I don't know exactly why, but learned to ski at Boy Scout camp at Beach Mountain. Never looked back. I always thought it was interesting that you could ski in North Carolina. My brain just doesn't think of North Carolina as a ski area, but what's your opinion on this big corporate deal going on where companies are buying out all the resorts? I guess I'm unfamiliar, Moses, with what exactly the big corporate deal is. Snow Basin's 11 out of 10. Or Steamboat. I will say, Chin, you and Jay, like whenever you go, somehow you get like a huge 3-foot storm. And you're like the only ones on the mountain. Utah's hogging up all the pow. I mean, it's freaking Little Cottonwood. I mean, that place just, like I've always said, that has its own weather system. Like, if you've never skied out west, ski Little Cottonwood last, because it will really ruin, your perspective on on West Coast skiing because it really is that good. It's not perfect. There's a lot of crappy parts about it, but when it comes to skiing, you know, it's tough to deny Little Cottonwood as the best place to ski. But what's up, Jason Mirama? Hello. First thoughts on GoPro 362. Right here. Camera's a beast. The number one thing for me with the GoPro MAX2 compared to the Max, compared to any other 360 camera on the market, is the fact that it can shoot in 10-bit color. 10-bit is like, cameras that shoot in 8-bit are really, they're ancient. What the bit depth of color is when it comes to cameras is it gives you more colors on the spectrum. So if you were to think of the blue sky, there's different hues and gradients of blue. 8-bit can just see less of those colors. So the quality, the picture is going to be way better with 10-bit. Almost every camera now is 10-bit. So one of the biggest things with this is that it's 10-bit and it can shoot in log in all resolutions, which again is you don't get that with any other 360 camera. With that being said, I think the Insta360 is easier for people to use. If you're looking for a 360 camera, you want to just do shit on your phone and have your footage, I think the Insta360 is a great camera for that. But if you're a little bit more advanced and you want more control, you can use GoPro Labs to crank the bitrate up to 360 megabytes a second. Again, the highest bitrate of any 360 camera. I bring these up because people messaged me and said, oh, the Insta360 and DJI has everything the Max can do and has for years. And it's just not true. And I feel like it's my duty to be fair to the GoPro and any other 360 camera. It's not true. There's things about the Insta360 that make it great, but there's also features of the GoPro Max 2 that the Insta360 doesn't have. And people say that the Insta360 does everything the Max does, and it's just frankly not true. So, but again, if you're not really into cameras and filming, I don't think it might not really be the camera for you because it doesn't really matter. I'm gonna come out with I was gonna come out with a video on this tomorrow, but because it's not public yet, I'm having a hard time getting into it, and I need like a test flight app, and I'm just having some issues. So I don't know when I'm gonna actually get this out, but anyways. Is there any site you know of that has in stock Griff? Having a hard time finding them. I don't know, man. I would just check the major, Backcountry and Evo and stuff like that for, if they don't have them, then, Oscar, I'm going to put look pivots on my new White Walker 116s. And then I'm just going to use my Tyrolia attacks on my 106s. Just because, the bindings can be expensive, and so that's it. I really just need to buy one pair of look pivots, and then I'll be good. And another thing with this that in my opinion is paramount for skiing, and again, the Insta360 doesn't have this feature. When it comes to a 360 camera, okay, when you're shooting in 360 mode, which most people are going to if you buy a 360 camera, the sensor needs to expose on both lenses, right? It needs to understand the whole scene. This can create a problem because a lot of times when this is on your helmet, the back lens is looking at a black helmet. It's a dark scene where out the front is all white snow. So what happens is it ends up overexposing the front area because it's trying to compensate for the darkness behind it. With the MAX2, you can set it so it only exposes out of one of the lenses while shooting in 360 mode. I do this all the time on the MAX2. It's probably the Max. It's probably the biggest secret that people don't utilize with the Max. They turn it on and they just record, but the camera's not exposing properly. An update with the MAX2, A problem with the MAX1, every time you restarted the camera, turn it on, back on, you had to redo that feature. So I would always have to take my glove off, press the back of the screen, hit the check mark, put it back on my helmet. Every single run took me 20 extra seconds because I always had to make sure that setting was on. Now with the MAX2, that setting will stay enabled once you do it. So you can turn the camera off, turn it back on, and you still have what's called hemisphere exposure. Again, other 360 cameras don't have that capability, and what it does is it creates a way cleaner image for your 360 footage. So you can boast you have 13 and a half stops of dynamic range, but when that's not exposed properly, it really doesn't matter how much dynamic range you have. So again, this might be a little bit more advanced talk with it, but it's these little things that make the MAX2, it's just not the same. It's not the same as all the other 360 cameras. Again, the X5 has a 1-inch, I think it's even bigger than a 1-inch sensor. So if you want something with a bigger sensor, go for the X5. That could be deemed as an advantage over the MAX2, right? But there's drawbacks to the bigger sensor as well. So I just encourage you guys to do your own research on the camera. And I feel like there's been this wave to hate GoPro in the last 5 years. The battery sucks. They never work. I don't know why, when GoPro really was the pioneer of this action camera industry, and people expect, a small battery to last them 8 hours when they leave it on their helmet all day with a wind chill, and now you have a battery exposed to 0 degrees temperature, and they're like, well, why isn't my camera working? So that's my little rant and spiel. Again, I'm not sponsored by GoPro anymore, and there was years where I never was. I just used their cameras because I love their cameras. So if I had to choose between Kicking Horse and Snowbird, assuming they take the same time, oh man. If Kicking Horse and Snowbird had the same amount of snowfall, I would choose Kicking Horse 10 out of 10 times. The issue is that Snowbird just gets better snow, so it's really hard to choose. I don't know. I did rank Kicking Horse over Snowbird, so maybe I'd have to go with Kicking Horse, but Alvaro, I am only selling skis this year. I will be selling my old White Walkers. I'll be selling my old 106s, and that's about it. I don't really have suits I'm going to be selling. Yeah, I kind of downsized a lot recently, so. You want to mount it, Oscar, right on the front of the helmet. I see a lot of people mount a GoPro up on the top. You don't get the best POV, especially if you're using the Max Lens mod. Yeah, you want it right on the front, right kind of. The bummer with that, I think the reason why people don't like it is you can't take your goggles off when your camera's on. When your camera's here, you can't take your goggles up and put them on your helmet. You got to take the camera off to do that. But in terms of the best POV, yeah, you want it right on the front. Exchange rate to NZD is 1-2. That's really tough. Canada's great. I mean, even the exchange rate for us to Canada is insane. But yeah, 2-1. I mean, everything's twice as expensive to come here. I don't blame you, Coconut. Honestly, I think the GoPro 12 with the new Max Lens mod is fine. The 13 is great as well. But really the 13 you get the most if you get the extra lenses, but the actual sensor, it's still the same GP2 sensor. So yeah, I think for most people you could just grab the 12. So I think when the 14 comes out, which will be not until next year, you might see it kind of the next jump. I feel like every 2 models, GoPro comes out with something that makes the jump really worth it for most people. So speaking from the industry, that's right. Chin is in that, let's say, semiconductor industry. Isn't really GoPro's fault. Better things really progressed a lot in these past few years. Yeah, and like I mean, I get it. Like I've been in that situation where I'm about to drop in. It's a POW day. I turn on like it's always my pull camera. I click the button. By the time I put my gloves on, I drop in. I hear beep beep beep, and the camera shuts off. It sucks. It's super frustrating, you know. But I guess I just can't expect a battery that's this big to last all freaking day. Even my big Canon batteries don't do that, and I get it. It's frustrating, but people also don't. They're not taking the camera off. They're not putting batteries close to their body. They're leaving it on their helmet, skiing around at 40 miles an hour with a wind chill. The camera's getting rocked by the cold. That battery's just draining, just sitting there. So, anyways, that's enough. I mean, I don't. The last thing I'm trying to really do is sell you on a GoPro because it makes no difference to me. I don't give a shit. Again, I just want you guys to be informed as to what is actually going on with the cameras rather than someone just telling you the Insta's better because of this or that and the DJI is better because of this or that. They all have their pros, they all have their cons, and the biggest thing is how you use the camera. That's really what it comes down to. People make great content with the Insta360. People make great content with the GoPro. GoPro ever make a really small camera? That's a good question, Oscar. I don't know. They came out with a new little GoPro Lite, but I don't know if they'll make one like that small. That Insta one is very small. No 14 this year. Nope. I think the 14 will be next September. They came out with the MAX2, and then they came out with another. It like has a light on it. I don't really understand. I really don't understand it because I just feel like most people aren't using a action camera for low light situations. But maybe that's why they created it. What's up, Bon? Yeah, I'm selling my 185 White Walkers. Those I haven't used. I'm gonna keep my 192 White Walkers from last year just for I don't know, just because. But yeah, I'm going to sell my 185 White Walkers and then the 106s. What's up, Rathu Mice? Big trips planned is really just Canada. I have a week up there in February. That'll be really fun. And then there'll likely be some heli skiing stuff. My partnership with CMH has really just continued to grow and develop and evolve, which is really cool because, it's freaking heli skiing. So, excited to tell you guys about that as more of the details come to life, but that's been a really good thing. That's been a great relationship, I feel like, so some AI editing assistants or a new editing system for the MAX2. I don't know, John. That could be true. I'm not super up to date on that. It might be something with the new app. I know Insta360 has a really nice feature, I think, where you can kind of automatically look. It like registers what you're trying to film and just kind of reframes it for that, which is what I think people like about the 360, Insta360. But yeah, I'm not exactly sure. What's up, Charlie? Where's the snowing right now? Anyways, has moved back to Utah, stoked for the season. I know, like Aspen posted some beautiful photos, like with all the yellow larches and aspens and stuff, with a fresh coating of snow. So a lot of the Colorado high country saw some pretty good snow. The Uinta Mountains here in Utah saw some snow. I mean, all this stuff melts. It's not like it's skiable or anything. But yeah, it kind of always happens. Everyone gets their first little dusting and then. What's up, Eric Gulseth? YouTube not notifying they're on. I'm actually just about to wrap this thing up. My laptop's on 6. I need to make some dinner. How many days a season do you think you ski if you had to guess? Oh, man. I think the most I ever got in a season was like 75, 77. Last year, I probably got around 35 to 40 days. So I'd say on average over the last 3 years, I probably get around 40 days, 45 days. Nordic Enforcers as a ski. Great ski, man. Probably, Hanson, probably the best ski you could get as someone who's, like you said, second season skiing, but you snowboarded for 8 years. So you have, yeah, so you're used to being on the mountain. I think the Enforcer is probably one of the best all around, best bang for your buck ski. Not saying it's a beginner ski, but it's just a great ski for everything. 6 inches at Winter Park. Eric, I appreciate that, man. 5 gifted. Bon Rogers, welcome back. Brandon Higgs, Sir Slab, Sean Zetterlund, Boss Dude. That's how you uncover who's here just lurking and listening. Eric, thanks for the 5 gifted, man. Good to see you. Hope all is well. What's going on with the kiddos? How's hockey been? Randall, I'm not super familiar with the bus schedule. I know there's plenty of people who utilize the bus all the time, and it works well. I think as long as you're prepared with your vehicle, that with the tire, with the right tires and everything, I mean, driving up works as well, but yeah, I'm not super versed on the UTA Cottonwood system, but I've also heard things where if you're not on like the first stop in the morning, the bus is full and you just can't get on the bus. So anyways, what's up, Brandon K? Eric, for 32 months, man. Hopefully you get out on the sticks this year, man. I feel like you didn't get any ski days last year at all. I'm planning on hitting up like the mountains in Colorado first. Typically, it's going to be Arapahoe Basin and then Keystone. Those are the two mountains that usually open up first. Wolf Creek is another one that will likely open very early, but yeah. I would say I'm a Utah Mammoth fan. I went to a few games last year and I had a great time. I'm not like a hardcore fan or anything like that. But I do like hockey. My girlfriend was able to get tickets to some of their games. So yeah, I think it's cool that we have a team here. More Pow Day videos, same. What's up, Brian McKenna? J skis in Vermont. What's up, LW? What have I been doing recently? This summer I really was biking a lot. Lots of road biking. Played a lot of paintball this summer. Got our one last event in October. Yeah, working, hanging out in the mountains. So, but yeah, I mean, I guess from an activity standpoint, lots of biking, lots of paintball, and I've also been doing different things with work. I've enrolled in a CFP program, which is a certified financial planner. So that's like a seven course curriculum, takes about 18 months. So, I have a class every week if I want to attend, but just, that's just another thing I've added to my plate. So yeah, just kind of taking the next step in my life, I guess. Catch it on the first station, no doubt you won't get on, yeah. Less coaching this winter, so ready to get out there. Hell yeah, Eric. Stoked to hear that, man. 42 months. 42 months, Dakota. You might be, you are definitely one of the top. 42 months, dude. That's nuts. Not many people got the diamond. Two days left till retirement. Congratulations, man. I didn't know that. 6 to 7 people. Good opera. I mean, anyone with like any place with an attached ski town, I think you're gonna have fun. Breckenridge, I think, is fun. Steamboat's great. Telluride would be fun. You really can't go wrong. Crested Butte. I do not fly fish, Mark. Not really a fisherman. Winning a race is great, Alvaro. Yeah, it was a long time coming. Do it with Joe was great, and yeah, we've had a pretty good year this season. So F1, I think, has been great. I think it's really. I'm a Lando fan. I don't think he has it in him to win the championship. Oscar is just really consistent. So, anyways. All right, guys, my computer's on 2%. I'm trying to stream for an hour, so 6 to 7. I appreciate everyone coming by. It was another great stream. And yeah, just be on the lookout for the channel to heat up again and things like that. And all that. MAX2, we talked about that a little bit. So, anyways, I love you guys. Take care. Have a good night. I'll see you in the next video, and I'll see you next week for another live stream. Later, boys.